This reporting from Frankie from Flatbush headquarters on the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, we got to play these Minnesota Vikings. So I thought we would do a game preview. We're going to take a look at a few things. The Vikings, in case you don't know, they're 4-0 after 4 games. Those bastards. And they got a quarterback. And his name is Sammy Darnold. And you may remember Sam Darnold. We drafted him. Yeah, we sure did. And he didn't do so good for us, so we got rid of him. He went over to Carolina. He didn't do so good for them either for 2 years. He was injured, not 2 full years, but parts of 2 years. And then he signed as a backup for the 49ers. He didn't do much over there. And then this offseason got a contract for the Minnesota Vikings, and J.J. McCarthy got injured. And so in comes Sammy Darnold, and now they're 4-0. So let's take a look at all of the relevant things that we need to look at on their team to see what we're going to face on Sunday. It's in London town, so it's a Phil Adams special, and we got to go all the way over there to play a football game. We got to go on the air at 9:30 a.m. and all of that. Let's share our screen. Let's see if I can get this correct over here. Okay, yeah, let's start with the old Delphi Power Rankings. These could also be called the Frankie Rankings because we're using the Delphi method to determine our rankings. What does that mean, Frank? Well, what this means is that we're using different other power rankings and averaging them out. So any bias or weakness in any one of these ranking methods should be smoothed out by the fact that we're averaging them. So you see over here, we're using PFF, we're using ESPN FPI. This is their football power index. We're using DVOA. We're using point differential and the EPA average. So looking at EPA offense and EPA defense and averaging them out. And then you average all those things, and the lower your score, the better. So you see on here right now, after week 4, and this is being recorded on Thursday evening. You'll excuse me, I have a little bit of a sniffles. For Christ's sakes. You go to New Orleans and you come back with all sorts of crap. Hey, don't ever go to New Orleans. So the so the idea here is that the lower the score, the better, because these things just represent where are they on the power ranking. So if you were first on all these, it would be 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and your average would be 1, and you would be ranked first, right? But you can see here, so the 49ers are number 1. PFF has them first. ESPN has them first. DVOA says they're 7th. Point differential is 6th, and EPA 4th. But overall, that gets them number 1. Baltimore Ravens are 2. Lions, Bills. This is a problem for us. Still got to go through the Bills, those bastards. And you see the Vikings here are 6th in the league. So they've been doing very well. Obviously, they're 4-0. We do a power ranking because sometimes the record of your team isn't indicative of how good you are. There's some luck involved. So we want some power rankings. And it's early in the season, so we don't know if this is really predictive just yet. It's still a little early, but it's good to know that the Vikings come in 6th here. So in other words, they're not first. They're not, number 1, although they are number 1 in point differential, tied for it with the Saints. But like EPA says, they're 10th. So overall 6th, and we're all the way down here, 13th in the league. Which, if you think about it, we're 13th in the league in the old Delphi Power Rankings, and we really have had 2 pretty bad games, 1 great game, and then 1 okay game. So I don't know. From an optimistic point of view, we got to say, okay, we're 13th, and we haven't played that well. The offensive line is struggling. Now, the other thing to show on here, right now the Patriots and Dolphins are 31st and 32nd. So The Patriots continue to lose people. They just lost their great center, David Andrews. So they're going to probably continue to struggle. And then the Dolphins, it's all about Tua, I guess. And so we'll see how that goes. But the problem for us is the Bills. And the problem for us is we got to start playing better. And who cares about these other teams? We got to get our act together. We need to get into blocking and tackling. That's what needs to happen if we want to succeed. It's very simple. Everybody wants to talk about Devontae Adams and the wide receivers and what about the running backs? What's going on with Brees Hall? What's happening with Garrett Wilson? People need to be focused on the offensive line. That is the number one factor in football. The offensive line and then the quarterback, and then you can talk about everybody else. Without the offensive line performing, you will not perform as an offense. If you don't perform as an offense, it'll be very hard to win with just a defense, as we've seen the last 3 years. I mean, we held the Denver Broncos to 10 points and lost. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. It's mostly because of the offensive line, my opinion. Again, sorry for the sniffles. Never go to New Orleans. Never go. All right, so let's take a look at some of these other things. Let's see if this works. Oh, yeah. We're not going to look at the film just yet, but we'll get there. First of all, who's on this team? What's going on with these Vikings? Who are these people? Well, let's take a look. They're coached by the notorious KOC head coach, and he's doing a fine job. OC is Wes Phillips, son of the legendary coach. And then the most interesting one, and the one we're going to focus on the most here, is Brian Flores. You might remember him as the ousted head coach of the Miami Dolphins, and the Miami Dolphins did him dirty. If you remember all that stuff that came out about Tom Brady and Stephen Ross, the owner, and all that stuff, all dirty, 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 dirty. And, they lost a draft pick, even. That's how dirty it was. But the one person who came out smelling like a rose was Brian Flores, and he's the one who got fired. Well, he ended up on his feet here eventually with the Minnesota Vikings, and he is doing a hell of a job with this defense. Now, the other thing to mention with Flores, and this is the most important point, if you thought Vance Joseph was psychotic, Brian Flores is psychotic times 100. And when I say psychotic, I mean that in the most loving, endearing way for a defensive coordinator. It's basically they're twinsies, except Flores is going to go even crazier than Vance Joseph. You are going to see the most crazy stuff on defense you've ever seen. And the most interesting part of this game, in my opinion, is the defense of the Vikings against the offensive line and Aaron Rodgers of the Jets. To me, that's the thing, that you really want to watch. That's the chess match right here. He's got every defensive combination. He will blitz from everywhere and anywhere, sim pressures for days. Okay, double mug the A gap. He's going to do amoeba fronts, you name it. We'll take a look at it. But I'm just telling you, this is what we got to deal with, this psychotic bastard. And remember, Brian Flores, where's he from? Brooklyn. Polytechnic Preparatory Day School, right there in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, is where he graduated from. And they only let smart people in there, by the way. And now here he is. So what you basically have here is a great play caller and offensive mind in O'Connell, who's getting the most out of Darnold. And then you have this psychotic bastard over here running blitz. And it's basically his philosophy, and these people's philosophy stems from the old days of Wink Martindale and Rex Ryan and all of those people who were on the, Ravens. And it was just all about blitzing and making you go nuts trying to pick up all these blitzes. And I'm sure there were people before them and so forth and so on. But that's where it comes from. You start with a 3 down front, then you convert it to a 4 down, 5 down, 6 down. You bring all these people, and you don't know who's coming, who's not coming, and it's a crazy thing to try and wrap your mind around. Now, we do have Aaron Rodgers, and he's probably going to sort it out, but then our offensive line has to figure out who to block, who's stunting, who's twisting, who's coming late, who's coming early, what's going on. And those offensive linemen and the tight ends and the running back have to all figure it out, not just Rodgers. Rodgers can figure it out probably, but is Brees Hall going to miss his blitz pickup? Because if he does, it doesn't matter because Rodgers is going to be on the ground. Okay, so this is a big, big, big challenge. All right, and I think what they've done here if you're a Minnesota Viking fan, I think you got to be thrilled with KOC and old BF, Brian Flores, and you better hope he sticks around. He probably wants another crack at a head coaching gig, I can tell you that much, after the way the Dolphins traded him. All right, so let's take a look at this offense. Obviously, they have the superstar, Justin Jefferson. In there, they got another budding superstar, Jordan Addison. Then they got a pretty good receiver, Naylor. Beyond that, not a lot of depth, but as long as they have these three, they're good. This offensive line has been performing well. We'll take a look at the PFF grades. There's basically one chink in the armor. His name is Ed Ingram. And you notice on here, old friend Dan Feeney. Might see old Feeney, the Feeney monster, on Sunday. Their tight ends are nothing to write home about. Then you have Darnold if he goes out of the game. Nick Mullins, no bueno. Brett Rippin, no bueno. So you better hope he stays healthy, Mr. Darnold. Not a lot of depth here in the running back room. But, of course, Aaron Jones is excellent. And then they do carry a fullback, CJ. Now, here's the crazy-ass defense. Bullard, Phillips, and they just use these guys. This is your three down front that they convert into this. And personally, if it were me, this is the defense I would run. I would be the most psychotic bastard of all. I'd be blitzing 100% of the time, almost. Because, and I like a three down front because I can convert it to a four down front anytime. I put Greenard on the line. Now it's a four down front. I drop him back a couple yards. Now it's a three down front. Why not try to confuse people? I don't like this whole idea of we're just simple. We do the same things over and over again and whatever. We do what we do. I don't like that. Old friend Blake Cashman's having a nice year, playing well. He got a nice contract. So good to see a guy we drafted and had high hopes for, couldn't stay healthy for us, has been relatively healthy the last couple of years. So that's good for him. Pace, I think, is out still. They got Estima. This guy plays a lot, 54. They use him as a chess piece. They got Van Ginkel from Miami. Dallas Turner, I haven't noticed him on film yet, so I haven't done extensive film study on the Vikings, but mostly looking at the last game they played. They had a great signing late in camp. They signed Stephon Gilmore, and he's playing well. They got this superstar named Harrison Smith here. Not a lot of people know Harrison Smith. But I think he's going to the Hall of Fame, to be honest with you. He's a Hall of Fame safety. He's excellent. And Cam Bynum has also been playing well. And they also have this guy, Josh Miletus. Is he a linebacker? Is he a cornerback? What is he? He's a chess piece. They move him all over the place. Byron Murphy Jr. they got from Arizona. So this is a very strong defense. Not exactly deep. They do have Jihad Ward over here who can pressure the quarterback. He comes in occasionally. He's the guy who got into a fight with Aaron Rodgers when he was with the New York Giants, if you remember, in the preseason. They got a little pushing and shoving. I don't even know who you are, Aaron said. And Jihad Ward said, I don't know who you are. To Aaron Rodgers, he said that. All right, even a guy like Pat Jones here, a backup, he's playing well. These people, I don't know. So not the deepest, but very, very good players that they have here, and then the way that Flores uses them, it's impressive. I'm telling you, it is impressive. Special teams, nothing to write home. I don't know who this is. Will Reichert is the guy from Alabama, I believe. I don't think there's much to say about their special teams. All right, so that's who they have. Let's see how they've played so far this year. Here's the PFF grades. As we saw on our Delphi system, Minnesota 7th there, and you can see they're pretty solid all the way around, except maybe they're tackling a little bit. Maybe we could run on them a little, although this gives them a 55 pass rush grade. That's a little odd, considering they have Greenard and Van Ginkel and Bad Jones and all these people. And the Jets 15th on here. So let's look at their offense. You could say, well, Christian Darrisaw, nice job. Justin Jefferson, Aaron Jones, Jordan Addison, okay. Brian O'Neill, a very underrated right tackle. Then here's Sammy Darnold. Brendel, the guard, doing well. Bradbury improved over the years. He used to be quite bad when they first got him, but now he's quite good. Turned it around. So good for Mr. Bradbury. The only weakness is right here. Ed Ingram, not so hot. They could improve on him. So there's your offense. We're going to need to get some pressure on Sammy Darnold, as we all know. Once he starts getting happy feet, that's when he makes mistakes. So, as we are all well aware. So here's their defense. Harrison Smith right at the top, even though he's got some age to him, still playing very, very well. Miletus, as I said, gets used a lot. They call him a safety on here. Safety, linebacker, nickel, whatever. You put him wherever, he seems to do good. Look at this guy's tackling, run defense, almost a 90 grade. Here's Blake Cashman playing very well, a lot of snaps, so they're using him a lot, and he's playing very well, as we all knew he could if he could just stay healthy. Even Gilmore at his advanced age, playing very well. Camus Grugier-Hill, he's not on the field a lot, but when they bring him in, you never know what they're going to do with him. He's a situational. And here's Jonathan Greenard. Now, what he does is basically rush the passer. Look at this, 22 damn pressures. That's a lot. Leads the team by a lot. 4 sacks, so forth and so on. So he's a menace. We got to watch him. Same thing with Van Ginkel. He's a guy who came over from Miami, and now he's playing well here. 3 sacks. He does it all. He will rush the passer. He will play the run. He will go out in coverage. He will do whatever you need him to do. He'll rush in the middle. That's the other thing they do. They do this thing where they stand around and they switch. A guy on the outside goes on the inside, and they're walking around, and you don't know what they're doing because they're not setting. This guy comes over here, that guy goes over there, then this guy pops up, goes over there. I'm telling you, it's a psychotic defense. Again, said in the most loving way, very psychotic. They're going to try to confuse the hell out of us, and I'm very, very worried about it. Now, who's not playing well? You look at Pat Jones, doesn't have a nice grade, but he does have 5 sacks. So, well, he's poorly graded, but sacked the quarterback 5 times. It's not too bad. Even a guy like Jihad Ward in limited snaps has 12 pressures, so he's doing well. He's getting up there in age even. So that's basically their defense, and a lot of these people are just sort of interchangeable parts. Now let's look at Sammy Darnold. Is there some hope in Sammy Darnold's stats that maybe some of this is luck? Because if you look at this, I mean, this is a lot different than what we're used to out of Sammy D. 11 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Oh my goodness, that's very good. What's going on here? Well, you look at it. He does have 5 big-time throws, but 5 turnover-worthy plays. So he still has a little bit of the fumbleia, but only 3 interceptions, 5 turnover-worthy plays, and a 5-to-5 ratio might tell you he's maybe getting a little bit lucky. Does have 10 sacks, and also his time to throw of 3.04 is way too high. So again, that may tell you maybe he's getting a little lucky. Maybe he's doing a little scramble-aya and getting fortunate on those. We'll have to see. And as for a comparison, when you compare to Aaron Rodgers at 40 years old, Aaron doesn't have the touchdown production, but only 1 interception. But Aaron has 7 big-time throws, 0 turnover-worthy plays. So, it suggests a little bit of luck in terms of, basically a turnover-worthy play. If I'm a quarterback, I throw it to a defender right to him, and he drops it. It's not an interception, but from the point of view of the quarterback, it's the same mistake whether he catches it or doesn't. And so, that's what this is intended to capture, is like when something really should be a turnover but wasn't because you got lucky. Well, we don't have any of those. Sammy D's got 5. So maybe he's got a little bit of luck in his game so far, maybe. Especially considering we know he, on our team, was a turnover machine. And now all of a sudden he's 11-to-3 ratio. Well, maybe there's a little bit of luck there. Here you see Rodgers 2.56. That's about where you want it to be. So Darnold is taking a long time to throw the ball, which typically does not end well when you do that, but he's getting good results. So again, maybe. And then, look, they're 4-0, we're 2-2. We got to look for silver linings here. We got to look for maybes and possiblies and hope for the best. So I'm thinking there might be a little bit of luck in Sammy's game. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. You'd have to watch every single, pass he threw. We could pull it up, but we're not gonna because we're not that crazy. All right, let's look at the pass blocking efficiency grades outside of it now. What you see here is a little bit different of a picture. Ed Ingram, Garrett Bradbury, even Darisaw, these are all not good grades at all. So maybe they have a little bit of a chink in the armor about pass blocking because this is way too many pressures. Bradbury, the center, this is way too many. Like a 94 at this point or a 94.3, 94.7, that's no bueno at all. O'Neal is good and Brendel good so far. But maybe we have a little bit of a chink in the armor here. And this also makes me think if they're letting these pressures in and Sammy D is running and escaping and throwing, again, maybe there's a little bit of luck there as compared to past years when he would try to do that and, actually have interceptions. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see if we can exploit Darisaw, Bradbury, Ingram on this team. So that could be a place where I do think that we're going to blitz more than we're comfortable blitzing to get some pressure because we didn't get enough pressure in the last game. So let's take a look at their runs here now. You can see what we want to take a look at is zone and gap. So they're more of a zone team. We kind of already know what they're going to do, but since they are a zone team and KOC offense is the West Coast offense variant of it, so we're probably going to get a lot of inside zone and duo. That's what teams always run against us. That's why we're not going to look at film like that because it's just the same thing. They're going to run inside zone and duo, especially when Quinnen and Javon Kinlaw leave the game and we're with our backups. We'll see if Leki Fotu, if he plays and is ready to play, if he can improve our backups. We need our backups. We need 4 excellent defensive tackles. That was one of my big concerns in the offseason, that we didn't have 4, that we really only had 2. And then we were hoping for Lakey, then he got hurt. So we got to see. Maybe he comes back this game. That would be nice to see. And then we got to see how he does. But they like to run zone anyway. So I think that's what we're going to see. They might try a few outside zone runs, but if I had to guess, I would say inside zone, A gap, B gap, mostly A gap. That's where they want to hit the wide 9 defense anyway. So that's what I think about that. All right, so that's it for the PFF stuff. Well, what about some of this? This is from MatchQuarters, matchquarters.com. Check it out. Check it out. And you see here, the Vikings are at the top of the list. They like quarters just like us and cover 2. So they like to sit back in quarters, cover 2, and then play all sorts of line games. Basically what they do. We like cover 3 more than they do. Here it goes. Most of the defensive attention centered around blitzing goes towards Brian Flores. Hey, that's who we're playing. And then they're talking about Vance Joseph, who we just played. Yeah, everything in Denver is built to create pressure. They're doing that. And it's the same thing for Minnesota. It's pressure, pressure, pressure. We're going to pressure you, and we're going to force you into mistakes. Eventually, you're not going to figure it out, and a guy's going to come clean, and we're going to knock your block off. The Vikings are this year's quarters team. So, we love our quarters. Jets have always been near the top in the quarters. Quarters is you split the field into 4. You got this quarter, you got this quarter, you got this quarter. Whoever comes into your quarter, you got them. That's what they do. So you sit in quarters, and then you just kind of like, the way I see it, Flores just designs all this mad crap going on here. Meanwhile, these 4 guys just sit in quarters, make sure nothing gets behind you, okay? Keep everything in front. and we're going to confuse them with all this crap we do up here, basically. That's what they do. That's what I would do. The Fangio crew, not Fagnio, Fangio crew is here talking about cover six. Sala Ulbrich, so we do some cover six as well. Quarter. They call it. This is press rates. I don't want to look at that. Blitz and stunt rates. Let's look at these psychotic bastards. Rushing 3, 14%. Rushing 4, 48%. Rushing 5, 28%. Rushing 6, 10%. 10% of the time, 6 people are coming. Hey. So basically, 38% of the time, 5 or 6 are coming. All right. That makes it hard to double team anyone, for one thing. You want to double team Grenard? Okay, somebody else is coming in. That's basically what this means. And, here's us. We sit there, we rush 69% of the time, we're rushing our 4. That's it. We do what we do. We don't get too creative. We'll see how long that works. The NFL is a 5-man pressure league. Well, not for the Jets. They haven't gotten the memo. They are even tops in the 6-man blitz category with the Vikings, Broncos and Vikings. We just played these people. Now we're playing these people. These are twinsies. Twinsies. Joseph plays man. Flores prefers quarters. Press rate and sack rate. So our sack rate is high, even though we didn't have a sack last week. Here's the Vikings. They get a little bit more pressure, but fewer sacks. Team you'd like to be is probably this guy. Now, you notice the interesting thing here. Look at these teams here. Jets, San Francisco, Houston, Cleveland, Green Bay, all run the same basic system. And I'm saying I don't like it. Well, I prefer a 3-4. Well, what are you going to do? The Jets are pushing their blitz rate up as well. Anything else we want to see here? No. You can see on this chart here, this is the EPA. So drop back EPA, this is passing. Over on the y-axis, this is rushing. And here's the 49ers. And you can see, the Vikings. And you can see they're out in front. Vikings, Broncos. We're playing them back to back. Look, here they are right here. This means you want to be further out on the right against the pass, and you want to be high up here. So basically, this would be the best place you could be on this whole chart, and look where they are, and look where we are. So that tells you a lot right there. Look at the Bears. They're hanging in there. Attaboy, Chicago. EPA and success rate, I don't want to look at that. All right, so that's that. So now, with all that being said, what does this look like in the film room? What does this look like on film? What are these people doing? Okay. This says Vikings offense, but that's wrong. It's the Vikings defense. Now, what happened in the last game? One thing you should know in this game, the Packers fell behind early and late. They fell behind 28-0. And so Jordan Love had to throw a lot to catch up. And eventually they did catch up, but they lost in the end 31-28. So they gave up. So this defense gave up a lot of yards. But that's because passing yards. But that's because Love had to pass so much, and they were giving up yards to milk the clock. So when you see people talking about, the Vikings lead the league in giving up yardage, you got to know the context of why that's happening. You can't just say, they're giving up a lot of yards, therefore they suck against the pass. No, that's not the case. They were letting them complete passes. They were up 28-0. You could have a 7-yard pass. We don't care. We're up 28-0. Now, Love was able to quickly get them back into the game toward the end. And, so maybe they shouldn't have done that. But generally speaking, if you're up big, you let them have some yardage. It's okay. As long as they don't do any, hit any big plays. All right, so in this case, so that's why you always need something like EPA or something or DVOA to put things into context, the right context. Just looking at raw yardage doesn't tell you much. You got to figure out why. So here we are in the first quarter, 2nd and 8. They're up 7-0. So what I did here, this is a cut up of all of the passes of intermediate passes of 10 to 19 air yards. We'll just take a look at how they're playing, the pass, because this is going to be the key element to this entire game. Is going to be psychotic Brian Flores against Smarty Pants Aaron Rodgers. Who wins the battle? And let's see how they did against Jordan Love. So here you see they got 3 down linemen to start, and then Van Ginkel's playing around over here. And then, so is he coming? Is he not? So here they bring 3, and then Grugier Hill comes late and brings the 4th one, and their running back has to pick him up. But look at the good job. See, now look at this nice pocket. This is what we need to see. Okay? If we give Rodgers this kind of pocket, we'll be just fine. So this is a great job by Zach Tom and the boys. And look how open this receiver is. And this is a bad pass, but so open he catches it, and there he goes. But the key there is we picked up the blitz, or they picked up the blitz with the running back. I think this is Josh Jacobs, if I'm not mistaken. Now, you notice last week when Joseph sent his late blitzing linebacker, we did not pick him up, and boom, he hits Rodgers. Here, he gets picked up. Look at this time, enough to find a wide open receiver. There he goes. That's what we need. That's what we need. Right, now, let's look at this play. Now, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 6 people. How many are coming? How many are not? Okay, 2 drop out. Now we only bring 4. All right, pretty good pocket so far. Get set. Right, a little bit of penetration, but plenty of time. Ooh, bad throw. And in fact, they pick it off. And Christian Watson gets injured, even worse. So on this, so 51 is Cashman. If you want to keep your eye on a former Jet. Why Love threw that ball? I don't. Seemed like he was double covered, but not a good decision. Okay, now here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many are coming? How many are not coming? Anybody gonna back out? Yes, no? Or are they all coming? They're all coming. Okay. Can we get them blocked up? Yes. And that's what we need. We need nice, beautiful pockets. Big, beautiful pockets. That's what we need. I don't want to see any of this penetration BS. Look at this. Nice blocking. Good job, Zach Tom. Excellent. That's what we need. It wasn't even a great pass, but good enough. That's what we need. That's what we're looking for. A big, beautiful pocket. Now look at this. Look at these bastards. What are they doing? Where are they coming from? What's going on? What's happening? Why do they refuse to get set? Where are they going? Where are they going to rush from? What's happening here? Oof. Oh, boy. And that one, they sped him up a bit, and pass took too long to get there, and safety made a nice play. But we better have this figured out. Listen, Nathaniel Hackett, Coach Carter, you better have this figured out with your offensive line. They're going to be playing all kinds of games. Here they just rushed 3, and they got good penetration. And Love floated it up. Too much air under it. Safety had a chance to get it. Here's another 5 down front. Are they coming? No, just 4. But late blitz by Cashman. Oof. And Love did not have a good game here in terms of accuracy, especially, I guess, in the beginning of the game. But it was his first game back from injury, so I guess he's a little rusty. And this is another game. Okay, we're going to drop one out. This is a fire blitz, basically. Just look for the holes and rush in there. It was the same thing, Stranad, or whatever that guy's name was, the first play of the game. Sacking our Hall of Fame quarterback. because we can't figure out the guy's going to come and block him. Better leave a back in there, and that back better freaking block. Oh, look at this. Another blitz. Boy, do they love to blitz. Oof. Seem to be throwing high in this game. And you know Cashman's going to want to sack us. That bastard. Here he comes. It's kind of interesting because if you get in the habit of blitzing, you just kind of you can kind of just look for the gap and try to beat a guy. Now, there it gets picked up by 75, so good job. And although under pressure, still a decent throw. There. So it's sort of a normal pressure. You think, okay, good. They're just going to do 4, right? Or are they? No, it's just 4. But even on that, they do a stunt. Another bad pass. Boy, Love was not accurate in this game. 2 tight end set here. Man in motion. Nobody moves, so probably some kind of zone. Now here he has a nice pocket. Just short arms it a little bit. I don't know if they gave him the catch on that. But that's not a good pass no matter what. Now look at this freaking thing. You think we're going to be able to solve this, Keith Carter? Keith Carter, Nathaniel Hackett, Robert Saleh. Are we going to be able to figure this crap out right here? Please tell me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Look at these freaking bastards. Look at this psychotic bastard, Brian Flores. Look at this. This is some psychotic stuff right here. This is called an amoeba front. If I'm the Jets, I'm calling timeout. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's see what they're all now can't be coming, right? No way. No, some of them back out. If only 4 come, but like you better know which 4. And he has a decent amount of time, but then he's got to scramble. Oof. Oh boy. That's not there's a lot of bad throws by Love in here. Love hurts, I guess, as they say. But why he's making these choices? I mean, why did he throw this pass? Right foot back, stance. I mean, he flushed out of the pocket. Van Ginkel does a stunt. They pick him up. Nice job. But then a guy gets through, and at that point, you got to throw it away. That's in danger there. There's Coach Flo getting involved. All right, so I think you get the picture. These are some psychotic bastards trying to tell you. And that's what we're likely to see. That's what we're likely to see. This is what he does. And you can understand it. It's a high risk, high reward thing. If you're able to pick them up, they don't necessarily, I mean, you might be able to catch them out of sorts, out of sync, out of their zone because they're running all around, and so forth and so on. So this is going to be, to me, this is the chess match of the game. Flores versus Rodgers, and by extension, the offensive line and all of the blocking people, which includes running backs and tight ends and wide receivers sometimes too. All right, so that's what to expect for the Minnesota Vikings game. And you notice in the Denver Broncos game, I told you exactly what was going to happen, and then it happened in terms of this is what Vance Joseph is going to try to do. And unfortunately, we could not counter it in terms of the blocking, let alone the route running and other things that were problematic. All right, so let me know what you think about all this in the comment section down below. We're trying to get up to 200 subscribers, so if you're new, please subscribe to the channel. I think I bring a lot of value, if I do say so myself. If you've hung around this long on the video, you must have got some value out of this. So if you could subscribe to the channel, that would be wonderful. We're trying to get up to 200, and then we'll go from there. But otherwise, click the bell, click the like, click everything, leave a comment, and I will see you on Sunday for the game. And also for Coffee with Frankie, 10 a.m. Sunday, Coffee with Frankie.
Non-pertinent. How do you log that non-pertinent?
No drug talk?
They use codes to hide their patron phone numbers. And when someone does use a phone, they don't use names. And if someone does use the name, he's reminded not to. All of that is valuable evidence.
Of what?
Conspiracy.
Conspiracy?
We're building something here, Detective. We're building it from scratch. All the pieces matter.